Hello and welcome to the News by Standards. There is still a societal stigma stopping some young people taking vocational qualifications instead of a university degree. That is one of the key findings of research commissioned by the Department for the Economy. It suggested that for some, there was a culturally perpetuated stigma of failing to get into university. That meant study in a further education college was often seen as a plan B compared to going to university. The just published research was into perceptions of level 4 and level 5 qualifications in Northern Ireland. Level 4 and 5 qualifications sit in between A-levels and an undergraduate degree. These are basically the first and second years of your university education. If you are at a level 6 qualification, that would be you finishing your undergraduate degree. They include things like apprenticeships, higher national diplomas, HNDs, professional qualifications, and national vocational qualifications. Many are taught in FE colleges, although some are taught in universities. A record portion of school leavers in Northern Ireland have entered university during the past 2 years. But there has also been a significant fall in the number of school leavers entering a further education colleges. A recent Stormont strategy for 14 to 19-year-olds in education called for more parity of esteem between academic and more technical or vocational qualifications for young people. But the new research found that some sixth form pupils did not value vocational qualifications as much as university education. The report said that there was still a widespread preference for university-based study and an enduring stigma surrounding vocational education and training more generally. This less favourable comparison and inevitable societal stigma appears to be reinforced both at school by peers and teachers and at home by family or parents. A number of comments made by contributors to the research reflects this. When you mention the word apprentice or anything other than an A-level or university to a parent, you just see their face saying you think their child is a failure, one teacher said. Too many people in Northern Ireland still believe only the A-levels to degrees route is acceptable, which is a very 20th century view and totally fails to take account of the changes and changing environment in the 21st century. An agri-food employer, meanwhile, said that there was still an academic snobbery among some in his business about vocational qualifications. Several interview participants spoke of the need to shift attitudes to market the positive outcomes from vocational qualifications and to promote the value of alternative routes from school to employment, the report mentioned. The research also found that school careers advice to pupils about taking vocational or technical qualifications was inconsistent. At its worst, there was a perception among some participants that certain schools actively discourage or even block FE colleges from coming in to speak to their pupils, which perpetuates the sense of otherness associated with vocational qualifications, the report has mentioned. As a result, there is for many poor understanding and awareness of level 4 and level 5 qualifications. School pupils from both grammar and non-grammar schools noted a strong university bias in their career planning sessions. The report therefore recommended more consistent careers information in schools about level 4 and level 5 vocational qualifications. More positively, it suggested that many students who took vocational qualifications valued the fact they combined practical experience, work and learning. Some employers also said that students who had taken those qualifications were more ready to get their sleeves rolled up and work harder than some graduates. Reports said there was a need, however, for a website which contained information on and allowed students to apply for all vocational courses in the same way that pupils applied for university through UCAS. The Department for the Economy report was based on the views of almost 600 sixth form leavers, students in further education colleges, parents and teachers, as well as smaller numbers of focus group interviews. The research was carried out and the report written by academics from the Centre for Research in Educational Underachievement at Strathmillis University College, Belfast, from January to May 2022. From my perspective, I can kind of understand the point that this report is showing. My school was very much one that pushed you towards the university bias. If you weren't going to university, you were considered a failure, and pretty much any type of support would only go towards those people. I remember as a school leaver just being screamed at and shouted at and berated because you weren't going to university and what you were going to do with the rest of your life. I had people saying to me, oh, you're only going to be stuck on benefits, and these were just classified as passing comments. These were on a near daily basis and it really dragged me down. A few years later on, I did actually get my degree. I've just finished my original degree and I'm in the process of completing my master's degree. From this, I am looking at going to the Cornwall School of Cooking to get the Grand Diploma that that's the highest level education in the culinary fields, so I have a more rounded education throughout all aspects of the food industry. Hopefully through processing that, I can then be in the fast moving consumer goods industry, which is looking at supply chain sides, developing contracts, understanding contract law, and being able to work as some type of operations manager. That's the general direction that I want to go in, but I know if I'd gone down the educational route, I might have been able to get through things a lot faster. Instead, by going through this way, it's taken me a lot further and a lot more away from what I've wanted to do, having to take almost some of the worst and lowest positions just in order to, survive and make some kind of a living for myself.